Good morning. I am going to bake something supreme for you this morning. It's one of my go-to breakfast muffins. I've been making them for years, probably 15 years. They also happen to be extremely healthy and extremely relevant right now because one of the things they don't tell you when you have bariatric surgery, and I'm just gonna go there and it's TMI and I'm gonna just do it like ripping off a Band-Aid, but you end up having issues with constipation. Okay, pooping is an issue. So I thought it was a very apropos time for me to bake these muffins for everybody because they are the key. They are the answer to constipation. And actually, they're just very healthy and they're just good for you no matter what's going on with you. So I'm gonna make them for you. I call them, I don't actually know what the real recipe is called. I stole it from my friend Angela, who got it from her friend. And for years, I've been baking them for at least 20 years, and I call them poop muffins. But you can call them whatever you want. That's what I call them, okay? So it's a very easy recipe. Now, normally, I make them with bananas. If you have some really good overripe bananas, it's great. I'm a little bananaed out, to be really honest with you. A lot of you probably are too. So I'm making them today with applesauce and apples. Now, I've gone ahead and diced and sauteed some apples ahead of time and let them cool because these are only gonna bake for about 15 to 17 minutes and that's not long enough for the apples to cook. So I did a little pre-saute, okay? So first thing we're gonna do is mix our dry ingredients. Now this is going to tell you how great they are for your system. So it's 3/4 of a cup of Flaxseed Meal, ground flaxseed, okay? Make sure it's ground. I use this brand. And then it's 2 1/4 cups, I have my quarter cup in there too. It's 2 1/4 cups of oat-bran cereal, okay? Right there, that's telling you that is going to be, as my husband likes to say, a plug puller. I told you this was a TMI episode. So let's pour this because this bag is kind of small. 2, I'm being very precise today. You want to be precise with baking. You got to measure precisely, and 1/4, okay? So there's our oat bran. Now, we have a tablespoon of baking powder. Level that off. And we have a teaspoon of salt. Let's see here, a teaspoon of salt. I'm being dangerous and measuring it over the bowl. I've told you before that's dangerous, but I'm steady-handed. That's a teaspoon of salt, okay? And then, let's just make sure this doesn't have baking soda on it. I have my industrial Kirkland Costco Saigon cinnamon. And you want, for this recipe, when I'm making it with the apples, I do 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. If you're doing it with the bananas, you only need 1. But we're making these apple cinnamon and I'm adding walnuts, okay? So there's our dry ingredients. Oh, wait, one more thing, very importantly. So sugar, you can use any sugar you'd like, any sugar substitute. I today am preferring to use right now Splenda blend. So it's kind of like Splenda and brown sugar combined. So it cuts your sugar, but it still has the flavor. It's really nice. So you want a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. You can use maple syrup, you can use stevia, you can use whatever you want. But for this, and it's gonna be spread out over a dozen muffins, and that's gonna be not a lot of sugar content, I went for this. Okay. With your dry ingredients, you want to just give them a light whisk, okay? Just to mix them and incorporate them. See, I'm mixing them up. I don't have my second camera person here today, so I'm doing this on the fly. Okay, so give them a good mix up so they're pre-blended. Now I've got my dry ingredients mixed. Now I need to mix my wet ingredients, okay? Very easy. So first, I'm going to take these lovely apples. Now look, I actually just wanted to get them soft so that they're kind of pre-cooked a little bit. They happen to turn out a little browned, even better. Flavor, people, flavor when things brown. Okay, so there's that. Again, if you're doing mashed bananas, overripe bananas, it's much faster. Now, I've got also a cup of unsweetened applesauce. Now, a lot of you probably bake with applesauce already. It's a great binder. It's really healthy, and again, it's unsweetened. Now I want to do a cup of milk. You can do skim, you can do almond milk. I'm using my Fairlife because that's what I'm all about these days, is this Fairlife protein-enriched, lactose-free milk. Okay, mix that in there. And then last but not least, 2 egg whites. Okay, 2 egg whites. I'm going to be safe today. Oopsie, there's a shell that went in there. I'm going to be safe and do it in a separate bowl because these brown eggs that I use, the shells don't crack the same way. They don't crack like in a good way. So let's see. Perfect. I'll use my empty milk measurer and make sure that I don't get any shells. Okay, wipe my hands off, and then here's our egg whites. So now this you just need to give a little stir. Oops, almost spilled. And now you're going to take your dry ingredients bowl. I'm just going to put all of the wet ingredients in there. Voila. Okay. Give this a really good stir. Now you don't need to use a mixer. This comes together really easily. It's quite a wet batter too, by the way. It's going to be very moist. So this is getting all mixed up and incorporated. It smells really good, by the way, already, because it smells like apples and cinnamon in here. And then at the very end, I add chopped walnuts. I pre-chop these up. You don't have to add nuts. I love adding nuts. First of all, walnuts are very healthy and they have a really great crunch. You know, any nut will have a nice crunch to the muffin. And a nice little fun fact, I don't really finely chop them. I like to leave some nice big chunks so that as you get a muffin and you get a nice big chunk of a nut in there. I love it. So incorporate those. Last but not least, I'm going to take my muffin pan, got some coconut spray. I'm just going to lightly coat the pan. Pan is coated. And then, I think you remember my trick, I use a gravy ladler to ladle my muffins. And you're just going to fill these up. I don't go too high at first. I'm pretty good at this because I've been making these, like I said, for a very long time. And sometimes you have bigger muffins and smaller muffins. It's all good. Sometimes you want a big one. Sometimes people want a little one. These are ready to go in the oven. Just to let you know, I preheated the oven at 425, and now I'm going to put them in the oven and lower the oven to 400 degrees. And we're going to set a timer for 15 minutes, test them, and then if it needs it, we add another 2 minutes. It has been 15 minutes, only took the 15, and I let these sit for about 3 minutes, not longer, because then they will solidify into the pan. And I'm going to take them out very gently with a little knife and put them on this cooling rack. They're so piping hot and they smell amazing. It smells like cinnamon apple deliciousness in this house right now. Now let's try one. Okay, so ready for this? Check this out. Want a little steam coming out. Ooh, so yummy. And look, they're apples. It's chock full of apples, chock full of walnuts. So healthy, so delicious. I'm going to give it a little bite. I have to blow it off. Yummy, yummy. And you know it's good for you, and you know it's going to help you out. Really good. Again, I've been making these for years. They're just an easy, low-cal, healthy, delicious go-to breakfast muffin. I will put all of the values and information and calories and protein grams and all of that underneath the link, underneath the YouTube link. And I just can't say enough about how great these muffins are. They're so delicious. They're versatile. You can put all different kinds of fruit. You can swap out the apples and bananas. You can put blueberries. You can put whatever you want. You'll see in the recipe. And they're just really great and good for you. And like I said, helpful in the bathroom. Don't eat one of these and get on the road, okay? That's what my husband's tip for you is don't eat one on the go because that won't work out well for you. But they're really good. So I hope you make them. I hope you enjoy them. And if you have any tips for me on those types of healthy muffins, I'd love to hear from you too.